Hello, my name is Rick from Munk Motor here in Waterford, Michigan. Today we are going to be replacing an odometer gear in a late model 944 Speedo cluster. This problem occurs primarily when the vehicle is moving and people go to reset their trip odometer, which ends up breaking the gear. And over time also the plastic gear itself deteriorates and the cogs on the gears strip out, causing the odometer not to work. The early model 944s have a different gear and a different speedometer system. If you do not know how to remove your dash cluster out of a late model 944, look on the Monk's Motors YouTube channel. There is a video there to show you how to remove the dash cluster. We have here a dash cluster out of a late model 944. I believe it's 1986 model here. And first thing we're going to do is we're going to flip this thing over. I'm going to locate the screws to replace the front cover here. So you got some screws right here. They're all Phillips head screws, and they're just on the outlying surface of the perimeter of the cluster itself. So I'm just going to take a Phillips screwdriver, number 2, and start removing these. Now just be careful when pulling this thing out so you don't catch the needles of the gauges. Just carefully just separate these here. Look at that. And these are common. You'll see these are manufacturer stickers with the part numbers, and sometimes they'll fall down in between here and hide the numbers and stuff. So you don't need these. And what we're going to have to do is make sure that's on 0. There's a stop. It stops right at 0. You want to take the proper tool, and this is a plastic wedge. We're going to pull this up and pop the needle right off, because we need to take that needle right off of there. And the best thing to do is actually remove the speedometer right from the housing, and we're going to set the housing off to the side. There's 3 screws here. You got to be careful also, because the contacts are on the inside of this gauge cluster for the Speedo, and they want to pull out, and there's a couple wires in there also, so just you have to be very careful and cautious. Set that off to the side. See if I can get this to pop out. There we go. These are the wires I was talking about. They like to catch right on that circuit board right there. There's the 4 pins. They fall right into the back side of the Speedo. And there's these washers here. Make sure you don't lose these, because you need those to hold that circuit board down in place. And we can see right here the odometer gear, how chewed up it is, and it's brittle. So this is the most common issue with these odometer gears. So I'm going to show you how to remove this here, so we can remove that odometer gear. I have removed 2 of these washers. These are rubber washers, or just insulators, so I just removed that. This here is the pintle for the odometer, the trip odometer reset. So that's just the actuator arm, magnetically controlled. You'll just pull this off very carefully. Be careful of the wiring again. And you remove the one screw right here on this motor. If you got a piece of foam or something to work with, that's great. Then you can set this down on. And just remove this. That takes that just out of the question. I still have to remove the face, and there's a couple screws in here I have to remove so I can get to this gear here to access that gear right there. Now I'm going to be removing these two screws right here on the face. Make sure you have some type of container or magnetic tray, which works great to keep all the screws and washers. You gotta just pull that off carefully. And I'll be having to remove these two screws right here. I've removed 3 of the 4 screws. I'm on the last one right now. And carefully pull this up. And be careful not to mess up your odometer readings here. So and that's it right there. And what we're going to do is we're going to actually remove this E-clip here, or also called the SIR clip, and this one right here. As soon as we remove these, you can access the gear. And another thing we need to do is push out this pin right here that holds this gear in, because you won't be able to get this gear out of the way because this is the double gear. You can see right here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to push on this pin. There we go. I'm going to take my pliers, just those out. And that just comes right on out of there. Set that off to the side. Now I'm going to take my little screwdriver here. Get my pick. Make sure you don't lose the clip. Take that one off. Now I have all the clips out. Like I said, make sure you don't lose those. So now this is the new gear, that's the old gear. That's the one that goes right here. And then this gear is the gear that goes right there. You know, just clean these up with soap and water. And this is the gear that will go right in here that runs the odometer. Here's the pin for that. You just push it through the hole. And it's just a snug fit right there. This is the little E-clip. It goes right on here. And if you do lose them, you'll probably be running to your local hardware store. They may carry them. No guarantees that they will. There we go, and that's it. The motor here will turn this, which will turn this gear, and turn that gear, which will turn the odometers. Both the trip and the main odometer gear. So now it's time to put this back in place. So we'll take this. This will go right over the top. Just like that. Take your 4 screws. Put them in place. flip this over. Be careful again. Now this, the wiring goes through here and the motor goes right into that loop right there, and then there's a screw goes right there. You really don't want to lube these gears. You want to keep them dry because the oil will deteriorate the plastic. So you just want to tuck that in there. Make sure that's in there. Just like that. The rubber washers. Right here. Tuck those out of the way. This will go right over the top, like that. We're going to put these two face screws back in place. Tighten them down. Just a snug. Don't over tighten them. And then you'll take your gear. This is already set at 0, so all you have to do is just take your gear, make sure it's right at 0, and just press it in place. Now we got the cluster back right here, and we got your speedometer. This is for the trip, remember, so it goes right into this hole right here. It's an electromagnet. So just push that right in place. And then the 4 screws. Right here. And at this time, once you get this all back together, if your lens is dirty on your cluster, it's a good time to clean it. And what we will do is, this will go right back on here. That's that. And then we'll put back on the screws. Now the last step is to put the screws back on the perimeter. I do not recommend electric drill or anything like that, a power tool to put these in. I'd rather do this by hand so you have a good feeling, so you don't break the housing or damage anything else if the drill slips. Because you cannot get the circuit board here. You have to buy the whole entire unit. Now we are complete. We have all the screws put into our cluster housing, and we have our cluster all set up. And we're going to be putting this back in the car so we can test it. There's no way to test it outside the car other than if you have the electronics well-beings to do that, you can. The simple tools to do this project, once the cluster is out of the car, is just a little plastic pry bar. So that way there you can get up underneath the needle nose pliers, small ones. You know, either a pin or a push set. Or this is just a dental pick that I use just to push that pin out on the gear, a Phillips screwdriver, and just a small flathead screwdriver. That's all you need. As you can see, this is a complex project. If it seems too difficult for your skill set, please contact your local Porsche restoration shop, and they will be glad to, you know, do this project for you. We appreciate you watching this video on replacing the gear on the dash cluster. And if you have any other questions, please contact us here at monksmotors.com, or you can call us at 248-680-8081, or check out the Monks channel on YouTube.